This is the Vibrational Medicine panel hosted by Light Language University, which the mission is to inspire others who are awakening and to aim and admit growth of the consciousness awareness of multi-dimensional beings. We hope that you find this discussion enlightening and inspirational. I'd like to introduce our founder of Light Language, Anna Noyce. She is a master Reiki and shamanic practitioner, Akashic record reader, medical intuitive, psychic surgeon, channeler, author, and speaker. She has also studied mediumship and learned various modalities through her experience using planetary energies, sacred geometry, and vibrational medicine. And we're so honored to have this wonderful panel today. And thank you for taking your time and sharing your experience with us. I'd like to start with introducing Martha. She's down here. And she's the owner of North Texas Qigong. She's a Qigong master for 20 years and physical therapist. And we have Anna. I'm Anne Durul. Sorry. Thank you.
Like the rules of one.
Yes. Right. Thank you, Anna. And she's Anne. Sorry. Anne. Life Changes Ultimate with 25 years experience in 15 different modalities and uses a unique quantum solutions process. Anna sat in that seat before in the previous panel, so I know. Yeah. And next to Anna is Corey. Corey Perez is the owner of, can you say this for me? Combinations. And he's a combo practitioner, and he's a healer, artist, and musician.
Actually, my wife is the combo practitioner, and I'm a facilitator and assistant to her in that modality.
Thank you for that. And I just messed up my cards. Miss Tricia, here you are. Tricia Seymour is the owner of, I never say your word. Intellikia, Oregon. She's a psychotherapist, wisdom maven, and vibrational energy healer. And she also practices with her husband, so it's another dynamic combo. And we have Vivian Hughes, the owner of Brand New Me, and offers holistic performance coaching using Psyche and meditation. Did I say that right? Okay, good. And something I missed up my cards. I know you're a Qigong. I started with you. That's all.
Yes, that's right.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. Well, I'd like to. Everyone, we've got full. This is being recorded, so if you would please, if you haven't silenced your cell phones, please do so now. Okay, thank you. I've been looking at my cards. I've sorted them out of order. I got that straightened. We're just going to start with opening up some questions. And so I'll ask the questions, and just whichever one if you feel like to begin, please do. So can you start off by telling us the benefits of using vibrational healing? Anyone like to start?
You might want to define vibrational healing.
Yes.
Explain what that is first, because we all come from different modalities, so every modality has a different way of visualizing or seeing vibrational medicine, even though it's all the same vibration. So I'll start, and then maybe everybody else would like to share what they do, and then also how that affects the human body. So vibrational medicine is just the concept that you're not solid. It looks like you're solid, it looks like you can touch this, but it's all actually molecules in motion. Science will tell us that. And so what we're able to do is, and everyone can do this, some people have it as a gift, they get it, others can learn it, there's all kinds of classes out there to learn how to do this, but it's a way to shift the vibration. So if the vibration is going in a wrong, I'll say wrong direction, a direction of an illness, that we can come in and help shift that vibration so that the person can address and feel whole again. I come from a psychological background as well as a traditional naturopath, and so I kind of take the mind, body, spirit aspects, which I believe all of us probably do, and move them together to help find wholeness for the person, wholeness for you, what's in your highest and best interest. So that's kind of, I don't know, a very general statement about vibrational medicine. I know the overview for the class also mentioned working with the medical community, and I know that I do, and I'm certain that my colleagues up here probably do as well, in that it's hand in hand, and it's a balance, and it's about having that balance of holistic approaches as well as traditional, as well as medical approaches, and how they can work together to help you be the best you can be.
Thank you.
Anybody else?
Yes.
From your point of view, vibrational medicine?
So to follow up with that, my practice is Qigong, which is a form of traditional Chinese medicine. And so Qigong is actually a science that comes from thousands of years ago. Having a medical background, I kind of fused the two. So when she's talking about vibration, the Chinese in Chinese medicine identified 3 things that circulate within the human body. Okay, one is blood, one they called phlegm, which we call lymph, and the third is energy. And that's the vibration. So the things that, when you're healthy, energy is flowing in a predictable pattern. When you have a blockage in that flow, that's when you have disease. And so whatever direction we come from in our modality, what we're doing is regulating that energy flow through the body and around us.
Excellent. Right here. Anybody else?
Yeah, my work is a little bit different in the sense that I've traveled around the country and taken about 17 different kinds of modalities and also integrated things from quantum physics and from medical field and whatnot, to whereby I have eventually developed my own process that I call quantum solutions. But it deals with the notion that 90% or so of our life is run by our subconscious. You know, you get tipped off about something, you say, why am I so angry? That wasn't that big of a deal. Because we got those old tapes or buttons punched. You know, so that's that subconscious or unconscious level that creates our issues and also holds them in place when we're resonating with them. So like the law of attraction, whatever you're resonating with, that's what you're going to attract and create. So often then, we are resonating with what we don't want, and we are not resonating with what we do want. So my work comes in there and identifies, without dredging up the past, what it is that we're resonating the way we don't want, and then switching that through other energy. Everything, we're all energy beings, everything in this universe is energy. So I have at my disposal more than 100 different kinds of energy healing modalities or modalities for creating coherence, like color, sound, movement, and a variety of things within those kinds of things. And fragrance and oils and aromas, you name it. But some years ago, after I've been a would-be artist all my life too, and finally gave myself permission later on in life to start taking some art workshops and whatnot. So I've been creating, at this point, what is I call transformational art. It's inspired by my studies in sacred geometry. It's very divinely guided, and each one emanates a different high-frequency energy resonance that I even incorporate into my sessions, as I just described, to switch and shift, do a 180 with those energies. And so it's all very contemporary. I sell the art, but it's wonderful how it comes into these sessions, but it will also upgrade the energies of the environment that those paintings are in. So that's kind of 2 of the energy areas I'm into. And then the third energy area of transformation I'm into is surprising to a lot of people, but I know probably a lot of you are familiar with the fact that our cell phones and computers are emanating negative life-depleting energies. But there are a number of other sources of negative life-depleting energies in our homes and offices and even in our vehicles. But so like negative energies coming from the earth, our own stagnant energies that accumulate, like where we sleep or spend a lot of our time, those energies accumulate and we get back in them, and they're actually zapping and draining our energy. So all electrical is giving off negative energies. And then there's EMFs and cell phone towers, you name it, that we're exposed to. So in my work, I also identify those energies, can calibrate them, and then transform those so they are positive and life-enhancing. So I've had some people come to me for what I call a regular healing session, my quantum solutions work, and I'll be guided to go check on the energies in their home and transform that rather than doing the other stuff because their home is so depleted. So it's kind of interesting. I had a fellow called me. He'd been referred to me. He was not into energy stuff at all, but he took this fellow's advice. He called, said he wanted to come to a session about his relationship with his significant other. And when he came, he was with his significant other, and I just kind of kept it zipped. He never mentioned it, but they wanted to work on his low energy and motivation or something. He was a webmaster, worked out of his home, and I was guided to check on the energies in he worked in his den, had his computer set up there, in their bedroom and in the kitchen. So right there, I'd never been to their house, I'd never seen them before, but we just kind of drew out their roots on a piece of paper, and I could identify and calibrate where those negative energies were.
That's fascinating. So that's where you check in, you ever check the vibrational energy, and that's how you
yes.
Thank you. We look forward to hearing.
Yeah, then we switched it, and the interesting thing is, while I was doing it, she says, I'm feeling some releasing going on up here, okay. Well, I am too, he said, So that was a Wednesday night. I called him Friday afternoon to see how he was doing, and he said, man, I've gotten more work done since the other night than I've gotten done in 3 weeks. So, it's all kind of pretty interesting. It keeps me excited.
Yeah, it sounds good. Thank you for sharing. Corey, can you tell us more about?
Thank you for sharing. That's wonderful. I want to start with a little bit about a prophecy that is shared by ancient civilizations and wisdom keepers. It's of the eagle and the condor. The eagle represents the north, or the mind, linear thinking, rational, future technologies, and the north. The condor represents the heart and the earth and the ancient wisdom. And the prophecy talks about the eagle and the condor joining and uniting the mind and the heart and finding that congruency in humanity. And in doing so, it's an awakening of humanity and ushering in a quantum healing and deeper unity of humanity at this time. And I think we're living that prophecy now. And we're all gathered to answer the call to greater healing. And my wife and I, we practice various modalities and bring them together in what we call combinations. And combo is a ancient medicine from the Amazon basin. And it's the secretion of a tree frog. And it is collected, and in a ceremony setting, we take participants through, and there are gates that are superficially burned into the skin. And the secretion of the tree frog, the combo medicine, is applied topically onto the skin itself. And that is a cocktail of over 35 different peptides. Peptides work in the system to, like a lock into a key at the cellular level, to upregulate or downregulate the cell function and to trigger your body's own mechanism for deeper healing. And it's a profound, energetic, physical, emotional, biological event that takes place that helps to liberate the stored trauma and energies and memories and emotional traumas that we've experienced and collected, not only this lifetime, but previous lifetimes. The human body is a vessel of recorded memory. And through various modalities, through Reiki and sound healing and combo medicine combinations, we bring that together in a ceremony setting to help liberate the human body, to create more room in the vessel that brings in more love and healing for the self and for others. And so my wife is the practitioner, and I am the assistant, that we work together in union to bring the eagle and the condor together in congruency with the heart and mind, to liberate the soul, to help people remember our own divinity and our innate ability to heal ourselves and others. And it's with great gratitude that we're here with you today to experience and to answer the call to dive deeper in a higher level of healing and peace for the humanity.
So oftentimes people will have a goal. I want to lose weight. I want to stop smoking. I want to feel healthier. I want whatever, fill in the blank. But our conscious mind can say, I want it, but our subconscious program, that Ann mentioned a little earlier, we don't have a program to run it. Just like going to your computer and wanting to type an Excel spreadsheet, but you don't have Excel. Psyche is one of the modalities that I use in my practice, because what it does is it says, okay, let me help you connect your heart and your mind, your coherence, your left brain and your right brain. Let's bring that together so that you can install new programming. So it's not about something that I'm doing to you or for you. I'm holding space with you, because all I'm doing is giving you access to combine left brain, right brain, coherence, and now you want to live a life where you feel love. Okay, well, let's go through some balances. Let's test your muscles to see if, in fact, you have a program that supports what it feels like to be loved. We may test your muscles, and it comes back weak. It's not strong, because your body tells the truth, like a lie detector test. So I could ask you a question right now, and you could say, yes, I absolutely believe I deserve love. And then I could test you, and your arm might fall down because your muscles aren't going to lock out. You can muscle test on yourself. You can look it up on YouTube. So what we do is talk through what is it that needs to be shifted in your perspective. And then once we get that goal statement or that perception that we want to shift, we'll do what's called a balance. So Psyche has a lot of balances. A resolution balance, new direction, but there's all these balances. I have a portfolio full of balances. Your body will tell us which one you want, because I'll just test and your body's going to lock out when it's the right one. And then I'll ask, does your subconscious mind need clarification? Is your subconscious mind clear? If it locks out, yes, it's clear, or no, it's not, it needs clarification. Then I'm going to sit and ask you some more questions. Tell me, what will it look like when you feel love? Or what would you experience to know that you have achieved this goal? You're no longer afraid of walking in a crowded room. Whatever you want to overcome. Maybe you got a divorce. That's how my story started, with a divorce, and I thought I did everything right. So I had to go and find answers, because I wasn't signing up to be a single mother of 3 children, because I followed the script. So I dived into energy healing to find out I had subconscious programming. My father left when I was very young. So in the back of my mind, I knew a man is going to leave me at some point. So I kind of set that up. Not that it was my fault, but my programming did not allow me to support the life that my conscious mind was expecting. So I needed to get that subconscious to line up. And once you do that, and this is not anything mystical or magical, we all have the access to doing it. We all have the ability. My role is to just introduce you to it and hold space for you as you come into the power of, I get to do this for myself. I'm my own healer. So, that sounds wonderful. Joe or Martha, do you have anything else to add? What that looks like?
I just think that at first, isn't it amazing that we're all doing essentially the same thing, but from different directions? And I think of cultures, like you were talking about the Kamba. It's so remarkable to me that, my teacher told me the truth is the truth. And energy is information. And that's exactly the truth. It doesn't matter how you get it. But there's so many different ways, and the key, and I think part of it may be the physical therapist in me, but the way I use my practice is to teach people to heal themselves. They don't need to come back. You know, once you learn what it feels like to have things move correctly, there's exercises, there's sounds, there's vibrations, there's breathing, all of these different techniques, you know, and balances and energies that you can do. We're all just talking about the same thing.
And I think the interesting thing is you heard all of us talk, and I didn't give too much of my background, but not only do I have a PhD in counseling psychology, I also have an EDD in education as well as a traditional naturopath. With all of that, I have learned so many different modalities, and I think that's all of us. We've all tried and studied and looked at and figured out, and the goal is to take all that you've learned and make it your own. And take everything that you get from these talks, from your own study, from your own personal growth, and apply it to your own life. And then if you choose to be, as we are, healers and work with people, you take it again, make your own. So yes, you can say you do Qigong, but I bet you do a lot more too, right?
Sure.
You know, you bring in a lot of other things, right? I've had training in medical hypnotherapy. I worked with doctors and dentists who use hypnotherapy as part of their actual practice. And so finding what works for you, and it's different for everyone. Some people, as you look at this panel and you see the people in the rooms back here, you resonate with somebody. You go, I don't know why, but you're the one I want to study with, or you're the one I want to go to, or you're the one I want a reading from. And you just know that that connection is there, and that helps you because you already have now a belief that they might be able to help you move forward or help you understand something better. The other thing I thought was really interesting that everybody mentioned has to do with our unconscious mind and how our unconscious mind rules our lives, and we have to take a look at that as well. So find yourself whatever training you need, whatever modality you need, but then take it and make it your own as you work and as you move forward.
And I want to add one quick thing too. To keep it really simple, a lot of healing comes in your breath. So if you can't remember anything else and you just need to get out of high beta, we're in fight or flight all day. We're in traffic. Somebody was mad that I didn't put the signal on in enough time and, flipped me off. And I'm like, whoa. But everybody's in we're just driving. So if we can take a breath. I had the electrodes connected to my brain. I looked at scans, following the Dr. Joe Dispenza works and epigenetics and all these things to see what happens when you come out of high beta and down to alpha, theta, when you allow yourself to calm down. Now the chemicals that heal you begin to release. Your immune system increases. And you didn't see anybody. You just set a timer on your phone for 5 minutes and take a breath. So that's an introductory to just, how do I even think a thought that's more creative and less reactive? Why am I always ready to fight? Why am I always looking at things the wrong way? I just want to feel better. Okay, set a timer on your phone for 5 minutes and just breathe.
That is a powerful statement. Just breathe, right? Don't forget to breathe.
Yeah, if I could just echo some of the things up here. We're all paths lead to one. And we're all just walking each other home. And, through our different paths leading to one, that one is connecting to the field, to the void, to the infinite intelligence that surrounds us. So how we communicate, how we connect, spirituality is the ability to connect to spirit. And so whatever vehicle we use or language we speak and listen, there's various ways to get there. And it's a powerful time because those veils that cover that domain are being lifted and becoming more accessible to everyone. Not just one, but everyone. And so it's our time to listen and connect and answer the call and move forward. And what brought us here today is that call. We're answering the call. We know that there's something beyond. And it's, to your point, finding the one that resonates, that you resonate with, that you can identify with and hear the language and resonate with. And take action. And it's time for radical self-care. It's time to liberate the body from the 3D energies that keeps us in bondage. And the more that we do this work, the more that we can get out of our own way, and the more that we can, Dispenza's words, learn a habit of unbecoming you, or changing the habit of you.
Breaking the habit of being yourself.
Exactly, that's it. That's the language I needed. And so there's a lot of ways of doing that, and it's increasing at an exponential rate and becoming more available. Ancient wisdom meeting future technologies, and here we are today.
Thank you. So now I'm going to open up to say, what are the benefits of using the vibrational healing and the modality and the path that you found yourself? Anne?
Well, from my own work, it is applicable to not just physical things, but emotional, spiritual, and mental things as well. So whether it's behavior or stress, anxiety, overwhelm, chronic conditions, some of those so-called incurable kinds of things, my work will work virtually for any kind of issue on any level.
Did that address the question?
It did.
So ask the question again.
So the questions are, what are the benefits of using the vibrational healing? And I know you each have your own path that you've taken, and I appreciate the sharing.
Can I add something?
Yes.
Now that you refreshed me on the question, the neat thing about this is that it's totally non-invasive, and there are no negative side benefits. It can only raise your frequency, help your body ascend into better, higher health, into a more empowered and fulfilled life that you want to live. It's a giant upgrade process.
One of the other things that I think is important to recognize is that the body design is designed for vibration. Think of a car battery. If you put it on concrete, what's going to happen is the energy depletes from the battery. That's why batteries are kept on shelves. So we live in a world where the Earth's vibration has been reduced remarkably by just the concrete. And very little of the Earth's natural vibration gets to your feet. So think of the fact that as humans, our natural vibration is depleted by the surface we're even living on. So doesn't it make sense that teaching yourself to improve and raise your vibration would improve your health? I mean, that just makes sense. So, there you go. That's all I'm saying.
Nothing else to say.
Yeah, vibrational medicine can be a lot of different things too. Some people use, as it mentioned, sound, light and color, just healing energy from source, hands-on healing. Prayer is a vibrational medicine modality. So there's so many different things. And what you hear with all of them is they are getting you out of your left brain. Our left brain's great. We need it. We need our left brain to function, to be able to drive a car, right? We need our left brain to go to get degrees or college or take classes. And vibrational medicine not only can bridge the gap between your left and right brain, but it also can allow you to be more present every single day. And that's part of it. I think for me, what I've seen in my own practice is that when people come to see me for whatever reason, whether it's something physical, psychological, or spiritual, as has been mentioned, there's usually a block of some sort. And being able to shift attention, thought, reframe, however you want to do that, that vibration actually shifts the illness, whether it's psychological, physical, or whatever. Breathing, much like you said. My husband and I also work together. As I said, he does a lot of breath work. And breathing is just so powerful because a lot of what we hold, Louise Hay had a book years and years ago, talked about the fact that most of our physical symptoms are psychologically based. That's it. You have stress, you have pain in your shoulders, right? You worry a lot about something and oh my God, now you have it. I mean, you were talking about attractive. So it just, our mind and our body are so interconnected. And vibrational medicine understands that. It understands that interconnection. And it says, okay, now, let's look at what the psychological things are. Let's move beyond the brain through different modalities, as you've talked about, through Qigong, through movement, through drama, through music, whatever, to the right side of your brain. And let's see if we can't clear out those blockages. And so there's tons of modalities that you can use. And as you hear, as I've said before, we've all been trained in a lot of them over the years.
You're actually the person I want to start the next question with, which is, what are some of the ways that vibrational healing can be used in conjunction with doctors' treatments to help or aid, accelerate healing? So
I guess the question I'm going to ask you is, are you looking for brief case studies? Do you want us to share, you mentioned something, you shared a case study, Anne, about that. Do you want us to each maybe share something, someone we've worked with?
yeah, or
how
if that's the case, or what it is, we're partnering with other doctors. That you are a doctor, but you mentioned earlier that you've worked with dentists and other types too. So just the partnership in your modality working with other doctors.
Well, like everyone up here, I think the best thing for us to do is to find what works for you. And so I've used different things with different people. Right now, I have a person I'm working with who has long COVID. She got COVID, very, very sick. Every possible neurological symptom afterwards, had to quit work. It's really awful. Tremors, all kinds of stuff. And we're working together through energy and through psychology to help her move through. I'm not going to say I've healed her. I'm not going to go there. Or that she's even healed herself. It's a process as she's moving through all the different illnesses. And I've worked with her medical doctor. And, explained a little bit about what I do and how I work with her and how we work together. With her, one of the most beneficial techniques is called emotional freedom technique. Many of you know it. It's tapping. You tap. And it's tapping on meridians. It's acupuncture meridians you're tapping on to release emotions. And that's one of the things when I worked with medical community. I worked with a physical therapist who, a young lady had been in a head-on car accident, and she's a quadriplegic. And she'd been doing physical therapy for 5 years. And then she came to me 5 years later, right? Closed head trauma, 5 years later. I also worked with light and color. And I worked with her with light and color, and she could not walk or move. And after a number of sessions, she was able to walk. Now, I don't take all the credit for that. I say if she hadn't had physical therapy for 5 years, her legs would not have been able to sustain her, right? If she hadn't been going to the doctors and getting the movement, she would not have been able to move to the next level of actually standing, let alone walking. And so it's amazing what vibrational medicine or energy medicine or however you want to call it, all these modalities we're talking about, just clear the path of your life. And I am a big believer in it's a balance between the two, between medical and alternative. As a psychotherapist, if you are in such depression you can't think straight, you probably need an antidepressant. Then you come to me and we'll work with your psychiatrist and we'll work with herbs and we'll work with homeopathics and we'll work with other things in energy medicine and all different kinds of things, tapping, the unconscious, as you were saying, movement, all the things that we're all talking about. And we'll work together so that you don't have to stay on it the rest of your life, hopefully. But it's a process. And it's not a process of just come see me a couple times and you're healed. It's a process within you of how you're working and what you need and how it functions.
Thank you.
And with combo, there is a process of evaluation depending on the situation that you're experiencing, whether it's migraines or depression or gastrointestinal. The practitioner meets with the recipient to review those issues and come up with the dot placement of the gates on meridians and chakra points. And from the ear, there are many points on the ear that the gate can be made, and the dot of combo is administered. Or on the back chakra, or on the legs, meridian points. And in doing so, those placements allow for the healing to take place on those pathways to address allergies, or like I said, the gastrointestinal. And as the combo is delivered on those pathways in the lymphatic system, it communicates like messengers to the brain, and the bioactive peptides communicate in that pathway. Also, there are neuropeptides which are able to pass the brain-blood barrier to help with clearing brain fog and increasing mental clarity. And so, or all the above simultaneously. So it is a very effective means on bringing those modalities together from traditional Chinese medicine and meridians, chakra points, and looking at the current situation from a medical perspective in the West of what that condition is. So it's a meeting of these in a very profound and impactful way is combo.
Yeah, and I'm curious, it really is about going at it in all of the directions for what people resonate to.
I might cite a couple of incidences that I've had relative to doctors. Some years ago, I had a gal come to me. She'd been hit in the car and went to her chiropractor. She was in a lot of pain in a lot of areas, and he really did not want to adjust her. He just said it was just going to hurt her too bad. She came to me, we did a session. I think we had checked 10 different points on her body and calibrated those, and they were all 9s or 10s, 10 being the worst. And by the time we got through, they were all 0 except for 1, which was a 1. Then she could go back to him and get adjusted. So what a difference, you know.
Yeah.
And then early on, I had a fellow come to me who had been, for some years, going to different kinds of doctors, trying to resolve the notion of him having panic attacks. And the week before he came to me, he had had 3 or 4 panic attacks just that week. And we did one session, and that was it. Gone. Kind of fun.
It is. That is definitely. So my next question is, how does vibrational medicine affect our light bodies or energetic fields?
Would you repeat that?
Yes. How does vibrational medicine affect our light body or energetic field?
This is an Anna question. Anna, you wrote this question, didn't you?
You know, the thing about it is that it's all connected, but it will, as we do practices like, I'm going to use the example of a Qigong class, okay? So rather than a one-on-one treatment session, I teach a lot of Qigong classes. It's taught in Qigong is the mother of making energy work. And so all the martial arts, Tai Chi, anything, acupuncture, chiropractic, that all comes from the Qigong, the moving of energy. So in a Qigong class, we're going to incorporate movement. It can be sitting down, it can be standing up, but the one thing that is consistent is that it's going to be gentle, easy movement with coordinated breathing. Now, what does that do for the body? It turns off the autonomic nervous system and it turns on the parasympathetic nervous system. If you've heard of polyvagal theory, it basically tunes in the vagus nerve, which causes relaxation. When relaxation occurs, what she was talking about before, with different wavelengths in the brain changing, as that changes, what is a wavelength? It's light, okay? It's the space between those waves. And so how does it affect the light body? Well, it makes it brighter. It makes it more vibrant because you are now bringing energy through the body, and energy is it's kind of one of those terms where you're like, what is that? Can you see it? Can you touch it? A lot of us can see it and can touch it. But the point is that as you start to change different frequencies, it changes the light. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Yeah, and there can be, we acquire impurities in our energetic field, let's say, and we pick them up, we self-induce them. However they get there, they are there and they are present. And so this work is about liberating our energetic field and removing those and getting out of our own way to realign with the divine, like the chiropractor does, align the spine with the divine. We can experience a subluxation, a sideways movement of the light. So we are realigning with the divine. And so these tools come together, and with Combo, we bring a few modalities. Combo is the medicine. We work with various master plants and mapacho for clearing negative energies. We use Palo Santo, sage, sananga, which is an eye drop. It's an extract from a root from the Amazon that helps to remove what's called panema, or negative energy. And also a blown-in shamanic snuff called hape. That's blown into the nose, and that is also for opening the third eye and aligning with the divine as well. So it's a series of ceremonial rituals that allow the body to settle, open the energetic field, allow the practitioner to create a container for this sacred space, for this work to be done, so that the participant can be aided on getting out of their own way to realign the divine and remember and awaken the divine within to help restore that innate healing ability within ourselves and with others. We also use sound healing. We sing, we chant, we have maracas and the buffalo drum. Drumming over an individual with that resonant tone. You have the reaction at first is a resistance, and then you have a surrender that takes place, and then you start to go into entropy or syntropy with that resonant tone, and that opens you up for a greater experience. So there's that coupled with Reiki energy, healing energy. And my wife is a gifted intuitive healer. So all of these tools in this event allow us to dial in and calibrate and help you recalibrate to your own innate power. And that's what this is all about, is to reawaken and connect to the divine so that we can, light our candle and light the candle of others as we walk back home.
So this sounds like it's an event, or is there a series of classes that is the combo?
Yeah, the combo is a ceremony, and it's 2-3 hour ceremony where we start with a guided meditation. We go into the sananga, we go into rape, and then we go into combo. And with combo, that's the culmination of those events, bringing it together in a very impactful healing event, where a purge happens both energetically and also physically, upward and downward as well. It can happen, but it's a process that we take you through and guide you through that. For that healing experience.
Thank you. It sounds like you're using the vibrations from the plants along with the Reiki energy and your sounds.
Sound,
yeah.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
I wanted to get to Vivian, because I think Vivian was just about to start. And do you want me to ask you the question again, or do you?
I think I have.
Okay.
So there's, when I want to ask a question, answered in your minds. There's been a time when you felt radiant, or you looked radiant, or something you gave off an aura, and somebody else might have said, "Man, you look great. What did you do?" And you might have cut your hair, you might have done something. But think of that glow, that radiating vibe you're giving off. So sometimes it's like, okay, my light body, what's this? So if it's kind of like far-fetched to grasp those concepts, you know some days you're like, okay, I don't care how much makeup I put on, I look tired. Or I just don't feel it. And then there's other days you're on fire, you're lit, you feel it. That's that energy and how it impacts your mind, your body, your soul, and then other people can see it as well. There was one other thing, and I lost it. It'll come back. Go ahead, you can take the next one.
Yes, I would add another way you can know that something has really happened for you and that it's affected your light body or your whole essence is that the difference that can occur during a session is actually measurable. You can, through kinesiology, checking with a person's energy field, calibrate how many cycles per second they are resonating at when you start a session, and then check at the end, and it will be substantially higher. And oftentimes people will feel lighter. Well, they've dropped a bunch of density for all of the blocks that have been cleared. It's actually that telling.
I got it. Here
Okay.
So think about too, like if you go to work and there's somebody who annoys you, or there's something that rubs you the wrong way, and so you're automatically going into this situation expecting that. So when you shift the energy to expect something different, it calls up something different from your mate, from the person at work, from the person who's been a complete fill in the blank with whatever word you like. They're showing up different. So now you show up with this energy of whatever you visualize, and we go through meditation practices to help you create a life story. Like, how do you change it? How do you see it? So it could be the person, like my kid, never washes the dishes. Every morning I get up and there are dishes in the sink. So how do I get this level of interaction from my kid so that I can just wake up in the morning and feel good about my first cup of coffee? Vibrational medicine can extract a different type of kid, because now I'm no longer looking at him like this little kid just doesn't listen. This kid has something special, and he is going to wow me with how he takes care of his kitchen. You know, just changing that. But if I don't believe it, I'm faking it, then I'm going to have the same kid. But in the morning, I'm treating him like the kid who cleaned up the kitchen. So now he's embodying, I'm the kid who made my mom feel like this, and I didn't even do anything. What happens if I actually do it? So I do a lot of mindset shifting, just so that, what can I do to manipulate your energy to do what I do? This ain't working.
Yeah, so that's great. I mean, so it sounds like you're using the power, the vibrational theory. Excuse me, the vibration of your thoughts and what are thought patterns.
You're going to match me. You're going to match my energy. I'm not going to be adversarial. I'm going to be loving. You can't help but love because I'm loving. And Louise Hayes said that too. She dropped her car off somewhere to get parked, and they said, "Aren't you scared to give this person your car, the valet?" There, she says, "As much as I love my car, they would never hurt my car. They're going to love my car as much as I love my car." And it's just getting in that practice of thinking.
Yeah, that's great. All right. So, what will, and I'm going to start with you, Ms. Martha. Okay. What will I feel during a vibrational healing session in Qigong if I were to show up in class? What would it feel like?
Okay, so let me just I'll answer that by giving you an example. Okay? So I teach Qigong at a drug rehab. And at the drug rehab, it's really one of the favorite classes. And it's one that's allowed to be provided while they're going through withdrawal. And so, usually, when someone is going through alcohol, heroin, you name your drug, withdrawal, they're groggy because of the substitute medication they're being given, but they're also really craving that feeling, that high that they had before. And they're at a loss as to how they're ever going to get through this life again without that high. Think of not having your coffee in the morning. And you know you can't ever have it again and you'll never wake up again. So people come into that class expecting something like yoga, where they're going to have to get up and down, or they're going to hang upside down, or whatever else. And they're not expecting to just move slowly and breathe. And the most common reaction after we finish a 45 to 50-minute class is, oh my God, I haven't felt this high since blah, blah. And the reason for that is because it's the first time in their lives that they could recall that energy has been moving correctly and they're able to breathe. Because there's obviously an issue, an energetic issue, that you are substituting alcohol or whatever that drug is to try to cover it up, try to medicate it. And really what happens, the reason people become addicted, is because it takes more and more and more and more of that, and you never really get to the level you were at to begin with. So, does that answer your question?
It does, yeah. It's like you definitely help with the
What do you experience in the session?
There's something too. We're talking about all our modalities and all the things that we do, but I'm feeling drunk between these two because it's the practitioner too. So don't, I like the gentleman down here mentioned, whatever resonates or whoever resonates with you, because I feel like I got to pay you when we leave. They give off something. Their light body is doing something, and it's
Those might be sitting too close together.
It's a feel good. It's a little bit of a high. It's like you had your thing, but you didn't have anything.
Yeah.
So
well, and that is what they feel. So that's an extreme example. So someone who's just anxious and stressed out or has pain would go through an exercise class. I'm just talking about the classes, and they've done it themselves just by the participation. So in a healing session, frequently what happens is people will just go to sleep because it's the first time that they've had energy moving correctly.
Yeah. Well, thank you, Vivian. So in the Psychic K vibrational, what would I feel like in yours? Vibrational feeling from the Psychic K session.
So empowered. You'll walk away typically feeling like something shifted. Like you're taking on this new persona because you're coming in with some type of I won't, this isn't working. And then you're walking out with so many ideas of how it could actually be possible, plus with a practical list of steps to take that's tangible. Because you leave Psych-K with homework. You do have to take action because you can put the program in your head and in your body all you want, but if you don't do the work to see it come into fruition, you'll feel absolutely like this is possible. I kind of believe that this would work. And then you'll start to see different things happen over the course of a day, a week, a month, where you forget that you came for a Psych-K session because you're just on top of the world with that element.
Well, Tricia.
Depends what you come to see me for.
I know.
But with vibrational medicine, I would say that when someone is working with myself or my husband, there's all kinds of different things that happen. So again, everybody's mentioned the same thing, you're clearing. So for some people, during a session, they feel like they're going to throw up to begin with because things are moving and shifting so quickly. Some people feel lightheaded or dizzy, and you have to help them reground. Other people just feel really relaxed. Sometimes, again, all we're doing is moving energy, and someone is sobbing and crying because they needed the release. So it's different for everyone and what your goal is and what's happening. When I work with someone relating to pain, as in physical pain, and I will tell you, for me, I'll speak for myself, acute pain, meaning something that happened right now, like you got a headache or backache or something like that, seems to be easier because it's not as entrenched into your emotional field and into your energetic field. And so it also is more, most people are more willing to get rid of a headache. And chronic pain sometimes has what we call in psychology secondary gains. and you have to address those as well. Doesn't mean chronic pain can't go away. It can. It just may, sometimes, again, as you said, sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes one session and it's done. For me, I would say everybody's experience is unique because they're unique. Everybody comes with a different agenda of what they want to experience, and so they're going to experience it a little bit differently. By the end, though, I think we would all agree, you are feeling somewhat euphoric and in alignment. Because, as everybody has said, this may be the first time in your life that your energy's flowing the way it's supposed to. So even if there are things that happen throughout a session, typically, so as a psychotherapist, when I just did psychotherapy back in the day, you know, the kind they teach you in school, everybody would be sobbing and crying, and all the they're like, oh, I feel, thank you, I'm so glad, you know, and they leave the session. Energy medicine is cool because they might cry, but it's very brief because you're helping them move it through, and they still have it may emote, or they may have a physiological reaction, like I said, dizziness, or feel like they're going to throw up or something like that. But by the end, there's a feeling of calm and peace and joy, and sometimes somewhat euphoric, you know. But there is you said it perfectly, the first time ever that their energy's probably going the right way and not being blocked. And so, so it's just fun. It is fun to see it happen.
Yeah,
you are
feel
right.
so much more imbalanced and empowered.
Yeah, right, exactly.
Yeah, and with combo, a lot of the same is true. You know, after the experience, after the ceremony, there's what's called an afterglow, where you feel a bliss or even a flow state of lucid clarity. Because we are restoring that balance and that homeostasis and equilibrium and moving energies out that keep us in that habitual loop of negative thinking. We sever that, and through that process we're rewiring neural pathways to fire the mind and reignite the mind into a new domain, or reconnect with neuroplasticity to activate a new way of thinking. And in doing so, coupled with all the peptides and the powerful combo medicine, one of the constituents of combo in the peptides is a vasodilator. It opens up the blood vessels, so there's more blood flow that's happening. The heart accelerates, moves more chemistry through the body. And so that afterglow, as you bask in that bliss, and we close with a koshi chime and other things to bring you back down and settle that energy, and we close the energy portals and return you back to your container of love. You are in a blissful state, able to return to the heart space. You know, we live in a world of duality and that separation, and we are returning to the heart space where things are balanced and in homeostasis, both energetically and physically. Combo is very effective.
Thank you. And what would you say that someone would feel during the vibrational healing with the quantum solutions?
Virtually what everyone has said here.
Okay.
They might feel some little twinges in their body. They might not feel anything, and they're sitting there wondering, am I really getting anything? And they know when by the time the session's through, they've made an unequivocal 180 shift and feel completely different. But some people who are more energy inclined in terms of feeling energies might feel some little twinges. Occasionally, not very often, maybe a little nausea or a little headache for a moment or two, or they'll just feel a pain kind of firing off. But by the time we get through with the session, they feel far better than when they came in. And just more empowered, balanced, lighter, peaceful, and ready to go conquer the world. And this work it has saved relationships and has saved lives.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to start on back to you, Anne, and go the other way. And I want to know, does someone have to believe in vibrational healing for this to work?
I would say it's a matter of degree. They don't have to if it's kind of light, and because I do a demo program where people of all kinds will come into it, and it's probably not everybody's as open as everybody else in the group, or a gal might drag her husband to it, and he's not quite so open to it, But generally, they will all experience their own results in that session. But I did a demo about a year ago where a gal brought her husband, and he was definitely not on for it. And everybody in the room got positive results for their own individual issues. I was only working through one person who was proxying for everybody in the group, with everybody with their own different issue. Everybody had some significant positive change, but he didn't have it. And I know he wasn't open, and I got feedback later that there was a fella there. I told him at the end that I transformed the negative energies of cell phones, and if anybody wanted to stay afterwards, I would be glad to demonstrate that. So one fellow who's a real energy feeler, yeah, I'd like to have my phone done. So we put it out in the middle of the room, and I did my thing with it, gave it back to him, and he was like, whoa, it was so different. So somebody else said, well, do mine too. So when the whole thing was over, I had promised an art tour for some of the people there, and everybody went with me except for that guy, and the other guy with the phone stayed there, and they chatted. And he told me later that that the fellow who wasn't open to it, he thought this other guy was a plant in my audience. I had met him maybe 1 or 2 times before, barely. He was not a plant, but that's how skeptical he was. So if you're really against it, sure, the power of thought is very powerful, and you can block it. But if it's to a lesser degree, I think you can penetrate through that.
Yeah, well, thank you for the experience too.
Yeah.
Thanks for sharing that. Yeah. Corey?
Yeah. Combo, one doesn't have to believe or even understand the energy and vibrational medicine. Combo will meet you at that level of understanding. When in doing this work and sitting with individuals, there can be spontaneous emotional responses. As we know, and we were talking about, there can be unexpressed emotions can find their way into the body and lock into the body as stored trauma. Back pain, anger, shame, guilt, resentment, all of these unexpressed emotions and trauma can lock into the body. And so in doing this work, it is spontaneously finding those traumas and releasing that entangled energy to liberate the body, like in yogic practice, when you stretch and you get that real deep stretch. People can be in a yoga class and just start crying, and they don't know why. It's not that they're sad, they just start to liberate this stored energy in the body, and that's one of the many benefits of yoga. It's not just about flexibility, it's not just about fitness, it's so much more than that, and connecting is a moving meditation. So with this work, Combo meets you at where you are, and it listens and answers and untangles this field so that you can flow and restore to that alignment.
I am curious, is that something that you do in a group session settings, or is it individual?
Both, yeah. It can be solo. It can be a private group, let's say husband, wife, or couples, type thing, or it can be a group of, a mix of folks. And it's really assessment is made as far as what the recipient wants to do and what they're open to. If you're open to sharing space with others, that is an environment that we create. If it's something that you want to experience as a solo one-on-one, as an unfolding, that can be done too. Nevertheless, the sacred container is created for a non-judgment space so that we can open up into that sacred space to really feel on a deeper level.
Thank you. Teresa, I'm going to go back. The question I was asking is, do you have to believe in vibrational healing for it to work?
No. No. You don't need to have any belief whatsoever. Vibration is vibration. It will meet you where you are. Some people may have huge life-changing experiences, and others may not. But you do not have to believe. You do not have to believe that an antibiotic is going to cure you when you take your antibiotic and it cures you. You do not have to believe that. That's science. I studied with a Hindu guru once, and somebody asked her, do you believe in miracles? And she actually said, no. It's just science you don't understand yet. That's it. That's it. And I understand the science, as do these people. Healers understand that science. And so please hear, you do not have to have belief. I have worked with people that have had pain. I worked with a young man who, for one session, who had corporal tunnel. He was going to have surgery, his hands hurt so bad. He did not believe it worked. He was extremely skeptic. His wife brought him to see me. He no longer had pain after a very short session. You do not need to believe. I studied also with a Qigong master. And he said, everyone's soul, who you really are, wants healing. You want to be whole. Our mind, our subconscious, our epigenetics, which are events that happen in your life, get in the way. But your essence wants to be whole. And if I can tap into your essence and connect with that part of you that wants to be whole, your mind is not needed. Your mind does not have to believe. It's going to happen. Now, I may need to continue working with you on secondary gains and clear some other issues around you wanting to bring it back, because that's your identity, right? No. I've had people say to me, they come and sat in front of me, and I said, okay, what are you here for? Did you want some healing? And they said, oh, no, don't heal me. I'm on disability.
I'm going to give a check.
If I was healed, I wouldn't get a check. Exactly. No, I don't want healing. I just want you to work with this little thing, right?
Wow.
So that's a mental construct, and we need to deal with those mental constructs. And we can do that both with hypnosis, with energy medicine, as we're talking about now, with different kinds of vibrational things. But I do not believe that you have to believe in what I'm doing. It is not required. Your essence wants to be whole. It wants to flow. It wants to connect with the all that is and know that we're all one and love is all there is. You know that in the cells of your being. Oneness, as has been mentioned. That's it. And we're all here, also as you said, Corey, right? We're walking each other home. That's where we're headed. And when you know that, and when you come from that space of love and connection and oneness, anything that looks like separation is illusion. It is not real. And all I have to do is hold that beautiful space for you. Hold that space of energetic knowing that your essence wants to be whole. And you will be. Your brain does not have to know or agree or even approve.
It's not a job.
It's your ego. It's here to live and play in the delusion of the duality. It is not necessary for you.
And then there can be a significant shift that happens as the non-believer physical participant shows up, because there's a calling, there's an innate intelligence behind the mask, so to say, so that he or she shows up. And through the process of unfolding, they start to turn the corner and start to realign and start to become a believer because they are experiencing. And so then we have the realignment of the body and heart and the mind and that coherence. And then we have a fire that is lit, or the igniting of the soul, and the believer, the participant becomes a believer, and that's when all things are really starting to activate, because if you have the power of belief behind this, for momentum, it really opens up and magnifies the alignment and the attunement.
And I'm sure all of us have had people who've come to us, and my husband and I have a booth here if you want to come and see us later, but all of us have had people come to us and go, I don't know why I'm here.
Right.
I have no idea. Well, do you need help? You need something? I don't need anything. I don't know why I'm here. I just felt drawn to come to see you. Somebody told me, and it's in my head, and I don't know why I'm here. We've all had that. You don't need to know. Your higher self, your essence, knows what you need. All we do is facilitate that conversation.
Yeah. Vivian?
Yes, so there's a knowing that overrides a belief. Again, the belief is our brain, is our conscious mind. It's made up of all the things that we've been taught by society. So belief is not as important as there's an inner knowing. So we have our conscious mind, our subconscious mind, and then we have the superconscious. So we're all connected superconsciously. That knowing is going to be the gateway to the healing, to the transcending, to the whatever it is that you're looking to have happen in your life. So belief is kind of irrelevant.
Okay.
If you believe it works, it works. If you believe it doesn't work, it still works.
Right.
Some of the most dramatic improvements that I've seen are in animals. I work with a lot of animals, primarily dogs, but some horses, and
They don't have a belief in Qigong.
They don't. But I think there's something to it, because animals, they're always looking to be whole. Every day they wake up looking to be whole.
yeah.
And so,
But there's not a left brain belief.
No, I mean, there's not a belief. It's an interesting thing that I've noticed that dogs and, for the most part, horses will absorb energy and keep it.
Yeah.
Okay? Cats absorb it to a point, and then they begin to purr to give it away. So when your animal purrs, I have had multiple cats that I've adopted through the years. I'm not a cat lady. I don't have 15 cats, but I've had cats that I've adopted, and none of them purred when I adopted them, and every single one ends up purring. And yes, I do have one right now that I do some treatment on, but the point is that animals don't have a belief system.
Exactly.
But it works.
Yes.
okay, well, I'm going to come back this way. So I'm going to ask you, does someone have to be present to benefit from the Qigong?
No.
Or is distance, I'm just approaching on the distance healing. So
Yes.
that's really the question. So what does distance healing look like with Qigong?
Okay, so with distance healing with Qigong, basically, when I'm doing a Qigong treatment, I'm creating an energy force, okay? I'm not sending my energy to anyone. I'm creating a force that is directing energy to them. They can be in Europe, they can be in the same room. You talked about long COVID. I have a client with long COVID, same story, lives several states away, and contacted me, and she said, I'll come down there. I'm like, you don't have to come anywhere. We'll do this. And the first time I did the treatment, she really wanted to do it over Zoom so she could see what kind of crazy stuff I was going to do. And she didn't see anything. But she said she felt an abrupt, I was going to the liver, because I'm not going to go into the traditional Chinese medicine, but different systems affect different things. The point is, she felt a jolt in the liver, and her paresthesia went away. So no, they absolutely don't. But the person who's doing the treatment needs to know what they're doing. It's a little more than just thinking I want to make them better. You know?
Oh, yeah.
Sure
Thank you.
helps.
And we like the story too, so appreciate that. And Vivian, I mean, I think I have the answer to this, but please tell me, I mean, do you feel that is the distance sessions the same?
They're the same. They do need to participate with
Okay.
me. I can surrogate and do a session and somebody won't even need to know that I did it, but there's something with Psyche, and since we're on this 3D planet and we're 3D, it's something about this being a part of it and a participant actively that makes Psyche meditations. It helps with the results because they buy in a little bit quicker and they can start becoming and having the behaviors that the person would have if they were healed or if they were loved. If I do it without the participation, sometimes the conversation component is missing, so we can do it long distance, but we do need to talk. Everything about what I said. I talk a lot. They talk a lot, so I want them to participate.
Yes, the vibration of the changing our thoughts, getting past the conscious into the subconscious.
Yes.
So participation helps, but distance works for it.
Distance works, yep.
All right, well.
Yeah, so I don't know if I said, Anukri is actually what my husband and I do. It's something that we've brought in ourselves. It's an interesting energy, vibrational work, medicine that is done. And the answer, once again, is no. Time and space are illusions. I went on a business trip to Australia. I came back, landed in LA before I supposedly left in Australia because of the time zone changes. They're a whole day different, right? Time is very relative or irrelevant, I would say. It doesn't matter. So if you're healing something from the past, you're healing something from the present, doesn't matter. Healing something that's coming in the future doesn't matter. Distance has no relativity whatsoever in working with the energy, Anukri energy that we work with, zero. I can do distance healings. It is nice if they participate, if they're part of it. You can also do surrogate things. My husband and I, much like you, are very connected. I was in Australia on that business trip. I twisted my ankle, and my husband worked on a teddy bear. Pulled the teddy bear out on the table and did the energy work on a teddy bear, and my ankle went down, swelling went down, and I didn't do any of the work. I was pissed that my ankle twisted. I wasn't in a real good space. And I called him, again, day difference, right? So time's totally different, whole other end of the planet, doesn't matter. Again, wonderfully we're connected, but you can do that with anyone. And someone who's a gifted healer actually can work with someone. My husband does stuff with, we have some regular folks that see us that are in upstate New York. We do not do Zoom. We do not go to upstate New York. They don't come see us. It's all done by, they text him and go, can you help me, blah, blah. And he does his session with them. And then he texts them and says, how you feel? And they're like, oh, did you do that? Oh, my word, it's gone. I'm fine. You know?
So it's not like setting a certain time.
No.
I do, okay. That's good.
No, you do whatever needs to be done when it needs to be done, and time and space does not matter.
All right. Corey, do y'all do distance? And if so, what does that look like?
Well, we don't. What happens in the ceremony, in addition to Sananga and Rapé and Combo, sound healing and Reiki energy, one has to be present because it's a in-person ceremony in the sacred space. But I will say, what happens after the integration aspect is the gift that keeps on giving, and that takes place at a distance. So as the person moves on, in their daily life, we work with them in ceremony to prepare them for what's to come, for a new way of looking at things and integrating into their daily reality, going back into the matrix, so to say, with fresh eyes. And so that's a distance healing in a way that continues to radiate and unfold as the people go back into their world to integrate those lessons, to integrate that knowledge and new download of information in the gift that keeps on giving.
Beautiful.
Amazing, sounds beautiful. And do you practice your quantum solutions?
Yes, like for about 25 years I've been doing distance sessions, and I find that the results are absolutely just the same as if a person were there in person. The main difference it would be, and particularly if somebody's local, I suggest they might like to come for a first session in person at least, because what they get that a person by distance does not necessarily get, or they might get it in a different way, is that my session is a process of going through kinesiology, muscle checking, pressing on the person's arm and getting a reading, whether they're on or off, or if we've made that 180 flip or reversal. And so, but once they've been there one time, oh yeah, I know what the process is, so when we do something over the phone, they know exactly what I'm doing, because I do it all out loud, verbalize all of it, and then they can know what's going on. But other than that, I've got a gal that's called me from Arkansas a number of times, said, hey, I want to work on so-and-so and so-and-so. How about just doing it sometime in the next 2 or 3 weeks, and let me know when you're done, and then I'll go over it with her. Or a person can call and we can make a phone appointment for them to be on the phone, and we go through the process. Or we can make a phone appointment and they can proxy for another person, say, do a session for their husband or their dog or their child or whatever. But it's all totally just as effective, easy, and empowering.
Well, this has been amazing. I am dying to pick up all the cards, and for those that I don't know already, learn more about. And I'd learned to just dive into it all. But we have about 7 minutes left, and I'd like to see if you have anybody in the audience that has any questions for the panelists. And this will just be questions, and any demonstrations or stuff will not be done during the question period. But does anyone have any questions? Yes.
Does anybody work with the Kundalini energy? Maybe Corey?
Yeah, we definitely do. It's, Kundalini is present in the body, and that Kundalini is another word for the same energy that we're working with. So yes, there is strong Kundalini activity and activation that takes place as we remove those blockages and increase the flow. We have that energy rising and connecting. So that's
Yeah, I have too.
You do too?
Do you all have anything else to add to it?
No, I did training with a yoga Kundalini guy years ago, and it's the same thing. It's a lot of the work that I do, I will see that occur with clients. Also, if we're focusing on sounds, we will make the sounds for the various chakras to open that up as well.
yeah.
Does anyone else have any other questions? Yes, please.
So, like they all have their own way to raise their light and vibration and take off all the heaviness of their problems. And do they get tired? Do you guys get exhausted of so many people full of bad energy?
I get energized.
Yeah,
Because it's not taking my energy, it's coming through me, and it's the process. But I always feel
So
better.
like a filter.
And it's almost like sometimes when it's working on them, it's working on me too.
Yes.
There's an idea of the hollow bone. We are just a vessel for love. We are not taking on, we are not giving, we are just a divine conduit that is, the energy is passing through, and you're reconnecting to your own light. So we are not taking on, we're not pushing out, we are just in that divine connection. And sure, there's a lot of energies happening, and at the end of it all, we can be tired, but it is exhilarating, it is empowering, it is restorative energy. And so, yeah, and there's breathing techniques, there's guided meditation, there are floral baths, Aqua de Florida, that we use to cleanse the area and kind of restore your own balance. So there's things that we do to preserve that and maintain that heart space.
Yeah, it's interesting that you asked that, because I actually had a healer one time say, oh, I really don't want to do a lot of healing work because I get so exhausted and I get so tired afterwards. And my first thought was, then you're not doing it right. Because when you're an open conduit, and you're letting just source come through and light and love come through and share and do what it needs to for you, as you said, I'm not doing it, I'm not taking it on, I'm not taking on your karma, I'm not doing any of that. I'm just moving stuff through. And so, yeah, physically, I might be tired because I got up early that morning, didn't sleep well the night before, whatever, we're human. But no, I'm energized because of the work that I do. Yeah.
I'm very different because I'm very selective with who I take on because it is very exhausting to me. A lot of the work that I do with people is because one is trying to become CFO of a company or working to be a CEO. There's some very big projects, and it's the Psyche, we overcome some of the blocks, but then we have a project plan. What do you need to do so that you can execute on these? So I've sat with the whole strategy session, and it's like whiteboarding with people. So I'm not just helping you heal, I'm actually helping you create a plan so that when we talk again in 2 weeks or a month, you've moved forward. So it's kind of like project management plus healing. So mine is very exhausting. When somebody calls, I have to see if I can take them.
And in Qigong, the first item you have to learn is to fix your own bad energy. And so I went through 7 years of training with my teacher before he ever did any kind of training on energy healing. And the reason for that, and I will not teach anyone until they learn how to protect themselves. Because it is, but yeah, you do get energized, but the other part of it too is we're human, and we have illnesses too. And unless you're doing something to keep yourself right, you are going to be affected. So, there you go. That's my 2 cents worth.
Yeah, we all do that, right? Clearing and stay right.
So, thank you all. We just want to thank everyone in the audience for coming. And Light Language University is a wonderful place that is open to all teaching people on how to heal and their journeys and what their paths are like. So please, you can find and connect with all of our wonderful panelists out front. Their cards are out front. And thank you all for coming and speaking. I'm sure we really appreciate your knowledge and sharing with us today.
Thank you.
Wonderful. Oh, on the website.